The sweet spot in urban planning is the point where economics, environmental burdens, and quality of life reach their ideal levels. In practice, only car-free cities can deliver any one of these, much less all three. Only people living in Venice and Fez, Morocco actually enjoy this today. Both places are crowded with tourists escaping places where none of the three measures is even close to ideal. How have we made such a mess of our cities? In a word, cars. These expensive, filthy machines occupy vast amounts of land and wreck the social systems that have always sustained us. Good cities require low construction and operating costs, low life cycle emissions, and excellent quality of life. As a matter of necessity, all cities once enjoyed these benefits. City walls were expensive, and living within their protection required frugal use of land. This led to the universal medieval urban form: narrow streets, multi-story buildings, and sparing use of green space. Without elevators, buildings could be only a few stories tall. Building footprints were kept small to minimize land use. Typically, the city was surrounded by farmland. Buildings were narrow, relatively deep, and touched their neighbors on two sides, which helped retain warmth. Land and construction materials were expensive, so people occupied no more space than necessary. From an urban planning perspective, cities were fairly uniform, notwithstanding great variation in their architectural details. Baron Haussmann's 19th century plan for Paris broke the mold with its wide boulevards, long before cars arrived. Why did Haussmann demolish large parts of medieval Paris to lay his boulevards? There are many reasons. People came to believe that the jumble of small streets was somehow disorderly, even though surviving medieval areas are well organized and effective, despite, or perhaps because of, the complex street plan. The advent of gunpowder disrupted city defense. Massive walls became pointless once cannons could blast through anything, and most city walls were demolished in the ensuing centuries. The enemy was engaged in open fields outside the city. The army never knew where the threat would come, so it became imperative to move armies quickly across the city, hence the wide boulevards. This was also a time of riches gained from colonial exploits, and many more people could maintain a coach and four. Coaches did not fare well in narrow streets, a harbinger of the problems with cars. With the invention of practical automobiles, city streets in wealthier nations were quickly choked with cars, and the quality of urban life plunged. It was decades before people realized that auto exhaust not only stank, but also killed. In Western nations, the 20th century answer was suburbs, with their wide, leafy streets and lavish use of land. Despite the easy mobility offered by cars, daily travel time remained unchanged, because low densities led to longer trips. The corner store died out. Streets lost their function as the public living room, and car drivers demanded precedence over other users. So began a spiral of increasing social isolation and declining quality of life. A return to car-free cities is the most practical solution, just as it always was. Today we can add quick rail transit and excellent communications. We can live better than ever before in clean, economical cities.